In life, you can be sure that it's the little things that count. So today, we're going to be covering the top 2 Santa Fe trim levels so that way you can decide which is going to be best. Introducing the 2021 Santa Fe Limited and the 2021 Santa Fe Calligraphy. Welcome to Versus.
Perfect.
What is up, guys? It's me, Guy, your car guy, and today we are talking calligraphy, baby. And not only calligraphy, we are comparing it to the Limited to see if you really do need to spend that extra little cash to get the tip-top package. But before I go into that, remember, if you're looking for any one of these 2 cars, or any Hyundai for that matter, and happen to live in Orlando, make sure you click that first link in the description below. That's a schedule with Miguel. That way I can guarantee that once you get here, you'll be getting me and we can have a little bit of fun. But now that we got that out of the way, let's go ahead and dive into what makes the calligraphy the calligraphy. If your major motivation between the Limited and the calligraphy is safety, comfort, or convenience, you can pretty much get away with either, just because they're essentially the same hardware in both vehicles. So they still have lane keeping assist and lane follow assist to help you keep between the lines when you're driving down the road. They still do both have blind view monitors, so that way when you're driving down the road, you can see either your left side or your right side when you put on your blinker. And yes, they both even still have Hyundai's Smart Park Assist that lets you pull it in or out of a parking lot without physically needing to be in the driver's seat of the car, just by using your key. One thing on the exterior that you will see difference is the grille. Obviously, they both have cascading grills, but with the Limited, you have the typical brushed aluminum looking grille, whereas you look at the calligraphy, you have this more shiny, more polished grille with these little triangles almost looking like chevrons. So that is one difference from the exterior to make you know that it's a calligraphy instead of a Limited. Now, this next one is kind of a toss-up because depending on whatever point in the future you're watching this, it might be irrelevant. But as of right now, if you decide to get a Limited or the calligraphy, they will both be bringing 19-inch rims on the cars. Now, Hyundai does say that the 20-inch rims on the calligraphy will be available later on during the model year, so hopefully before 2022, but as of this moment, right now, you get 19s on both. We all know posers exist and even straight up thieves. So let's say somebody buys a less expensive Santa Fe and puts 20-inch rims on there. Another distinction besides the grille is the lower half of the car. For example, if you happen to look at the Limited, the Santa Fe Limited have these black plastic pieces over the wheel arches and lower half of the car. But swapping over to the calligraphy, you will notice that the entire car is painted a single body color. No plastic pieces are exposed. So if it's 5 years from now and somebody's trying to sell you a Santa Fe calligraphy on the street that has black plastic body panels, they are lying to you. So you know what? You're welcome. Consumer advice, baby. That's what I do. Getting around to the back of the car, aside from the bumpers that you can already tell the difference between the Limited and the calligraphy, another cool thing is that you still do have the same engine cranking out 277 horsepower through a turbocharged 4-cylinder, and you also do have a 8-speed wet automatic dual clutch making shifts a snap and actually saving you a little bit of gas because the shifts go into gear so quickly. And by the way, the other difference between the Limited and the calligraphy, at least at this point in time, is that with the Limited, you have the option of getting front wheel drive or all wheel drive, where on the calligraphies at this point, they will all be H-track all wheel drive. When I did my Palisade review, I did mention the same exact thing, and then of course, like 2 months later, they made the calligraphy front wheel drive, and I believe they're gonna be doing the same with the Santa Fe calligraphy. Eventually, they will be offered in front wheel drive and all wheel drive, but believe it or not, even if you happen to get the front wheel drive Limited, it's a combined 25 miles per gallon in the city and highway, but for an extra 2 wheels pushing you through, you only lose 1 mile per gallon, so I would say that's a win. But another difference is going to be on the inside. Let me show you. Opening up the tailgate, you will see that the calligraphy Santa Fe and the Limited Santa Fe have the same amount of room, but I didn't want to tell you about the room. I wanted to tell you about the spare tire, because once you look underneath the Santa Fe Limited, you're going to see that yes, in fact, it does have a spare tire. But Once you move over to the Calligraphy, you actually do not get a spare tire. You get the tire mobility kit in case you have a nail or something, you are still not stranded on the side of the road. Now, I know what you're saying, that's stupid. Why would they do that? I said the same thing, but apparently Hyundai says that they're doing it for weight savings because all the government requirements make it too heavy if they put in a spare tire, something like that. But safe to say, every time you get a new Hyundai, you'll still get 5 years of roadside assistance, unlimited miles. So that's still a win. Hopping in the driver's seat of the Limited, you still do see that they're pretty much the same as far as hardware goes. You still have the big old touchscreen with the 360-degree camera option on there, just like you would on the Calligraphy. You still do have the digital dash on the Limited, just like you have on the Calligraphy. And yes, when you switch through drive modes, they do show you in spectacular fashion which mode you're in, and they both have leather. But that is one place where they differ, because on the Limited, you do have this beige leather on the car, which is very nice. Looks nice, feels nice, is nice. But when you hop in to the Calligraphy, you will see that the Calligraphy does have the Napa quilted leather stitching, and the beige is more of like a caramel color, more of like a camel color, a little bit more rich. Again, switching over to the Limited, you still do have this beautiful interior, but going back to the Calligraphy, it's just a little bit nicer. Another cool little difference is the steering wheel. Yes, they both have leather wrapped steering wheels, but if you look a little bit closer, the buttons on the Limited are buttons on the Limited. They have this plastic finish on them. But when you hop over to the Calligraphy, they have this little bit more upscale brushed metal look to them, making it look a little bit more fancy. And speaking of the leather wrap on the Calligraphy, you also notice that the sides of where your hands would be are also perforated for a little bit more of a distinction from the Calligraphy to the Limited. Now that we're done looking down and around at the leather, I want you to go ahead and look up, because the headliner is another difference from Limited to Calligraphy. Because sitting in the Limited, you will see that you do have the melange beige headliner really pulling the whole car together quite nicely. But hopping over to the Calligraphy, you will notice that you have the microfiber suede black headliner, which is an exclusive on the Calligraphy. I hopped into the Calligraphy to show you another Calligraphy exclusive, and that is the heads-up display. What it does is actually project information of the car, like your speed and your navigation arrows, onto the windshield of the car. That way you don't have to look down as far if you want to know how fast you're going, or even where you're going when you're driving the car. It was available on the Limited in prior years, but now the Calligraphy is the top dog, so now the Calligraphy is the only one to have heads-up display. And so guys, that has been the difference between the Santa Fe Limited and the Santa Fe Calligraphy. And no, I didn't talk about every single little detail of the car because it would take way too long, and I'm too far for that. But if you like these videos, go ahead, like, subscribe, and share. Make sure you hit the notification so that way you can see the freshest uploads. And remember, if you want these or any other Hyundais, go ahead, click that first link in the description below, make an appointment with me, and let's have a little bit of fun together. Now, if you want to see how cool my initial impression was of the Santa Fe Limited, the first one we got, go ahead, click this little video right here and enjoy yourself. But guys, that has been my time. So until next time, I'm a Gary Car Guy, and I'll see you soon. Is it in frame? Can you see it well? They're the star of the show. I just talk. They're the stars. So I was trying to hide the fact that there's garbage piled up in the back of this, because it is literally the only one we have right now. It's the first that I'm actually able to even review, and I just don't feel like hiding it. So at least I'm going to repurpose this. I believe it's called recycling. So put it right here, so that way I can see under the Santa Fe. Okay, does it have room for a spare tire? I guess so, but does it have the hardware for the spare tire? That's the question. Interesting. I don't know. So, remember how I said that this is the only not sold one? Well, my buddy Nick over there has an appointment through the Business Development Center saying that they want to see the Calligraphy. So man, I am good at this, aren't I? Whew, gonna be fun.